And we are here, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Welcome to the Layered Reality YouTube channel. And, well, you're looking at us right now. It's your boy Tom. And it is Chris from Avandra. Wait, I'm pointing the wrong way. It's a mirror vision that's really annoying. And we are talking you through the new Avandra album, Prodigal, tonight. So, Chris, how are you feeling, man?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. It's good to be here, you know? Coming from wherever I was from, and now I'm here. So it's always good to be here, you know? Got some Klingons on the way here. Really interesting stuff. But all good, man.
It's gonna be one of these live streams, isn't it? For those of you, no. Just for your reference, ever since Chris and I met up for real, which was during the Prog Power show that they played recently, we've developed an interesting dynamic with weird sarcasm and things happening at random intervals. So be ready for tonight's stream to have some of that as well. But obviously, what we're here to talk about is the new album. And the new album, I'm going to pick it up right now. Ooh, would you look at how shiny that copy looks? Doesn't that look great? You want 20. You know you do. And
who is this?
This is a polka group from
cool.
Slovenia. They do a really alternative kind of polka. Very complicated.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay,
so,
nice.
Chris, maybe the first question is already happening in the chat. Where exactly are you at right now, Chris? That was the first question from Ron. Where are you situated?
Well, that's a difficult question. Do you mean like subjectively, or do you mean in my head? Because like Seinfeld once said, "Up here, I'm already gone." That was actually Kramer. Anyway, going back here. I am in Puerto Rico, sadly enough. No, not sadly enough.
Not sadly enough.
Not sadly enough. But I am in Puerto Rico, yeah.
Awesome. And I see that José Miguel has joined us in the chat as well. Ladies and gentlemen, José Miguel Chemi, the bass player for Avandra, is with Chemi, how do I say? Chemi? You should tell me. Chemi, I'm saying it right.
It's just that you're saying José Miguel, and I find that really funny.
Sorry, I thought that was the right way to pronounce it.
No. For those of you, now you're going to get a Spanish lesson. When you have a U-E, and you have, like, for example, a G before it, right? It's Ge. So it's
Miguel. Miguel. Okay,
yes.
Perfect. I've learned something today. There we go. So this is an educational experience as well. Now, maybe before we start going into tangents about a million things, which we are very good at. The two of us are incredibly good at that. Well, tonight we're talking about Prodigal. Maybe you want to start out by telling us a little bit about how the album, well, what sparked the album and what like the overall idea behind it is. Maybe you want to give us a bit of an introduction.
Yeah, I mean, so the concept for the album actually came along. I wasn't quite keen on doing a concept album until I told this German dude in an interview around 3 years ago that I was going to make a concept album, and then he was so excited about it. Or I said I was thinking about maybe making a concept album, and he was very excited about it. And I was like, all right, well, maybe if he gets excited by it, more people will get excited by that kind of like scenes from a memory, Operation Mindcrime type of album that also, I mean, scenes from memory, not so much, but Operation Mindcrime had a lot of, social criticism, layered underneath the lyrics and stuff like that. And people that know me know that I am, this is something that I hate saying, but I'm pretty political in a lot of things and in a lot of my conversations throughout the day and stuff like that. I think some people might roll their eyes at it, but if you live in Puerto Rico, it's kind of impossible not to be because of the situation that we are particularly in. Like, Puerto Rico's in a very particular situation that you're not going to find almost anywhere else in the world, in as far as identity and as far as how it's still a colony and just a bunch of stuff, right? And so I've always wanted to take the concept of Ubiquitous, which was our first song from our first album that we actually played in Prog Power, and kind of expand it.
Okay.
I've always kind of been very, for example, some of the stuff that kind of like really pisses me off is when people talk about healthcare in the United States and they say how we're going to pay for it, but then the United States spends billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars every year to keep 900 bases around the world.
Right. And
so it's like, how are we going to pay for it? But then there's, so many things. In this respect, I wanted to marry it with the military-industrial complex, the lyrics. I mean,
okay,
because I've always been a fan. The first song called Codename Pharaoh,
which what we will be playing soon, because obviously we're going to start the music soon. But just to give you guys a bit of a precursor of where it's coming from. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that first song, for example, starts with like a speech from Eisenhower, and for some reason, people kind of like saw it as either me propping up Republicans or me kind of like talking about United States, the U.S. kind of policies, foreign policies. It's like, yeah, I mean, it has to do with that. But the speech is just, I took that speech because it talks about a certain theme, which is the marrying of the military-industrial complex with the government, and how he warned against such a thing, and how we're now seeing the repercussions of that, constantly. Because in forever wars, I mean, why wouldn't they want to keep a forever war if they're going to keep profiting off of it? And the United States has a huge problem with lobbies. So people lobbying constantly, not a hotel lobby, but the United States has a huge problem with lobbying and people being, which is just another word for bribe.
Yeah, it is. But basically, just to summarize it a little bit, like the opening track of this record deals with that, and just want to throw this in here for the chat to maybe also think about. It's like the moment you start adding something political or something worldly, you will inevitably have people interpreting things exactly the wrong way. Like exactly the opposite way of how you meant it. Like there's a big chance that might happen, actually.
Sorry, really quick. There was actually a guy from one of the reviews, I'm not going to say which, but he was like, why is a South American band, and first of all, we're not in South America, right?
No, that's problem number one. Yeah.
Talking about a former U.S. president, because we're a U.S. territory.
Yeah, it's because it's the U.S.
Like my grandfather fought in World War II under the U.S. flag.
Exactly.
It's like my dad, fought in the Contra Wars under the U.S. flag. So I mean, why are we talking about a U.S. president? Because, well, yeah, everything that they do affects us,
Exactly.
But beyond that, it wasn't even about it could have been anybody giving that speech,
right?
So an influential figure giving that speech,
right? So basically, it's really more about. So for those of you, we're going to play the song in a bit. If you're listening to the speech, it's actually not that much the fact that it is Eisenhower. It's really about what is being said in the context of the song, basically.
And so, Codename Pharaoh, just to put it in perspective as well, and as far as context within the CD, it's the first song, and it kind of opens up with the whole point of the lyrics was just to establish the concept of war being reified. A reification is when you make a thing out of a concept, so it becomes real, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's the concept behind, the first song of this concept album. It's just, the wheels of war turning again. Right. And, beginning the whole kind of context for the protagonist of the story.
I feel that we got ourselves a really good introduction there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off this record with the first song, Codename Pharaoh. Let's go.
We now stand 10 years past the midpoint of a century that has witnessed 4 major wars among great nations. 3 of these involved our own country. Despite these holocausts, America is today the strongest, the most influential, and most productive nation in the world. Understandably proud of this preeminence, we yet realize that America's leadership and prestige depend not merely upon our unmatched material progress, riches, and military strength, but on how we use our power in the interest of world peace and human betterment. Progress toward these noble goals is persistently threatened by the conflict now engulfing the world. government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. For the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizen can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods of goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
The cycle has begun anew, and concepts reify of narratives of war and you that take hold of your mind. Words turn to fire with every pretext lie that consumes all the lives alive within its sights. Hush the button and be deaf to the cries. Convince yourself that they deserve their demise. Eyes to the sky and never to the ground. Never thinking of those lives soon to be drowned. Let us reap what we have sown. The centuries of crimes unknown. Million mass, the mind controls the history so many foretold.
During the long lane of the history yet to be written, America knows that this world of ours, ever growing smaller, must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate, and be instead a proud confederation of mutual trust and respect. Such a confederation must be one of equal. The weakest must come to the conference table with the same competence as do we, protected as we are by our moral, economic, and military strength.
And we're back. That was the first track, Codename Pharaoh, for all of you guys. And I see that the chat is popping to life. All the band members are here. We have a whole bunch of listeners here. Good stuff. Welcome, everybody. Chris, was there is there anything else you would like to add about Codename Pharaoh right now? Anything of interest?
So I'm going to add about Codename Pharaoh. Pharaoh is that Vikram Shankar also wrote the keyboard solo for that particular song.
That is awesome.
So that's him. He doesn't play the other stuff, like the other keyboard parts, because his song was meant to be more of like a, straight up, 4/4 kind of metal song, just to ease people into the progginess that is, gonna hit them in the face later on. But yeah, he plays the keyboards on that one. So.
Awesome. Okay, so and I would say Vic played just to get that out of the way now, and we're gonna acknowledge him more over the course of the record. Like, he played on a few songs, not on everything. It was also, I believe, it was a bit of a time thing, but he did deliver some really cool things regarding this album. So, and anything specific you might want to add on that front regarding his contributions?
Yeah, I mean, I guess as the songs happen, I can talk about his contributions. But this next song called "The Downpour" doesn't have. Oh wait, sorry, no, that's a lie. It does have Vic.
Yeah, I was like, wait, that wasn't number 2 also with his parts? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, Vic.
That was a fuck up. I'm sorry. Sorry. This next song has his keyboards on it, and I fucking love them to death. It's just that I feel like every time we contribute, it only takes like one shot for him to get shit right.
Right.
Like, it's never. I don't think I've ever told him, "Hey, man, work on this part a little bit more," because I it's not quite there or anything like that. It's like he sends me shit, and it's like, okay, this is instantly good. Like this is
booyah,
just great.
Bam, right there.
I mean, we work together really well, not only on studio stuff, but also in the rehearsal stuff. Like, we were like when we were rehearsing for Prog Power, like it took nothing for us to just get acclimated to each other,
right?
And just like we were tight from the beginning, it just, everything felt tighter than a Barbie's ass. It was just like, it was really easy to just,
God. And just like that, we lost our monetization. Thank you. Good stuff. Oh man, I was hoping we could make money on this, and then you go like that. It's man.
Really? Is it that bad?
No, no, it's not. I just wanted to make drama for no point whatsoever.
Right.
But seriously,
shit,
but seriously though, like, I've seen one of the rehearsals, like the first one, and like I saw the first one where you guys started playing, and I was there when I saw that connection happening. Like, it was there. You guys seem to really vibe off of each other instantly. Yeah.
Super fast, and it was like we had been playing for years together. It felt like the decade had gone by, and like we'd all been together playing. It's like, and so yeah, we worked together great in studio and in live performances and shit like that. So that's always great.
That's good to hear. Well, personally, I just want to drop this in here, that this might be, I mean, favorites tend to shift as I listen to the album more, but this might actually be my favorite track of the album, like track 2, but I love the Downpour. The guitar parts here are exquisite. So, shall we just head into it? Shall we just do it?
Yeah.
All right.
Filio, for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Downpour.
Brother said, go to the market and
And we are back. Hello. Yes. Okay. So one thing before we head into the nitty gritty of all the songs and everything, I see the chat is filling up nicely. Welcome everybody. I see Abraham just joined us, and that is wow. You really went there. Thank you. On stream, high quality comedy right there. But just saying that if we respond late to what you're saying, there's apparently quite a delay in what we are recording right now and what you are seeing. So we're not ignoring you, but we might need the song for the chat to catch up and actually respond to it. So there you go. We're not ignoring you. Here we go. Oh wait, Cropsy. We have a lot of people saying a lot of things. Apparently, Ron just made a message saying that everything that I touch becomes autumn instead of awesome, and I'm just going to leave it at that. That is wow. Okay, thanks.
Makes sense.
It makes sense, I guess. And Cropsy here. Hello, Cropsy. Nice to see you here. I need vinyl of this record and the first two. I know it's a big ask, but I'm there day one if it happens. It might happen in the future. We're not ruling it out, but obviously it depends on how vinyl production is and how things go. I mean, obviously we did the vinyl right there for Skylighting, which you can still get, of course. And if you buy like 200 copies, then, the more copies you buy, the more vinyl we can make of the new one. There's some logic to that. Anyway, Chris, we talked about a lot of side stuff, but maybe go back to the concept real quick. What was the Downpour about? What did we just witness musically?
Yeah, so basically this is the part of the story where second song, so the concept of war, the cycle has begun anew, means that the wheels of war have began turning again, and now we kind of see the consequences where the little kid, whatever little kid it is, in any part of the world, there's no particular, like, I'm not saying this is, anywhere in like Arabia or
no, exactly. No, it's in that sense, it's like a metaphorical child. Let's put it that way, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And his he has, you get kind of like introduced to his parents and like the values that they try to instill in him and stuff like that. And then it's all seen from his perspective and from the perspective of the family, where they're hearing thunder coming from far away, and they think it might be rain or that it might be like a thunderstorm or whatever, but it's actually like bombardments and like a war going on. Their foot's on their doorstep and they don't know it. And the ending is kind of like him running towards his house and hearing his mother scream for the last time or whatever. And the little beep that you hear at the end is kind of like a tinnitus from the bomb, shock of the bomb.
Right. Now I know what that sound represents, because that sound stood out to me, and well, I was a bit like, oh, do we have to? Ooh, but at the same, because it brings the point across rather well.
Yeah, it's kind of jarring. It's kind of jarring on purpose. So that's kind of like the experimental part, I guess. It's kind of jarring, but it's kind of jarring on purpose. Where if you figure out the meaning of it, there's a show don't tell type of thing.
Right. But, But also with the metaphysical aspect, I can imagine that you don't want to. You don't want to feed the entire literal situation. You want people to put their own spin on it, right?
Yeah, for sure. So that's what that song is about. It's about the beginning journey. Like that's where he starts, with loss, and just the next part is this next song called New Beginnings, is kind of like the aftermath of what happens after the bomb falls and tinnitus, whatever. Yeah, falls, like it, dissipates, and he wakes up from the shock. Right. And the things that he sees.
Fair. Okay.
Where it is.
So that's also. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I was going to say at the end of this particular song is when you see him being taken away and stuff like that. So that's where his journey kind of,
So it's like a tragic ending that starts the new journey, basically. That's what this is. Yeah. Okay, before we head into what the next song is, New Beginning, I just want to acknowledge, I see a lot of things happening in the chat. It seems that we've caught up somewhat. Lizzie, I can see you, and hello there. Good to see you're on here, and I'm also very proud of the dudes for releasing this record. I mean, that's why we're doing it. And Buckminster, thank you so much for the compliment. Just doing my job here and making sure that a lot of people, hear this record and get to vibe along with it. Now I see that you're answering. You're ordering Chinese right now. Can you get me like a bit of a side dish as well? I mean, I see that you're in the middle of ordering food. Can you maybe get me some as well? Sorry, I had to. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading into the next track on the record, and the next track on the record is New Beginnings. So, well, considering what you just said, what are these new beginnings globally, if you have to describe it?
Well, it's essentially just like what happens after a tragedy, or what happens after you witness something really horrible, you know, and you're, as a kid specifically, you're very confused. Like, that's my kid right there. Like, just barked. And,
if you want to show him on screen, you can. Totally do it.
He actually wants to come inside, so probably for the next, you know, when we return from this song.
Yeah, you should. Bring in the pupper, because we all know that animals score on the internet. We want to get those millions of hits, so bring in the pupper. I mean, chat, do we want to see the pupper? We do, right? Let's face it.
Everybody does, yes.
Here we go.
And so yeah, that's just what that's what the new beginning is. I mean, in this particular case, it's a very specific event, but all around, it's or in a kind of like a meta kind of way, it's just that it's like how you move on, especially as a child, where life doesn't make. These things don't make much sense to you. You're very confused. You don't know what's going on. Your whole world has been locked in a way that maybe an adult can better understand, but as a child, you can't.
Right.
So,
yeah. No, that checks out. I get your I get what you're saying in that regard. Also, just a question: where can I see the lyrics? Well, right now the lyrics are in the booklet. They will be added to the official Avandra website in the coming weeks. So not as of right now. Now we could not set up a complete lyric video per song due to time constraints, but we do hope you will enjoy it nonetheless. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let us go to the next song, and that one is called New Beginnings.
Sirens wailing, fall on deaf ears, because I know they're not for me. I can't help but feel that I should stay in here, beneath this couch so shamefully. Shuffling of feet, searching carefully for signs of life through the smoke and the debris. Their body still lays on the kitchen floor, and juxtapose a children's show on the TV. Don't wither away.
And here we go. We are back again. That was New Beginnings. And here is Chris. And Chris, regarding New Beginnings, you basically just set up how that all started out story-wise, right? Like that is basically the... If you would call Pharaoh and Downpour the prelude, then this is like the proper start of the story, right? That's how we can structure it somewhat.
Yeah. The first two songs would be kind of like exactly just preludes. One at a very kind of macro level, the other one at a more specific level.
Right.
And then now the story starts. Yeah.
Okay, so the story starts now with the next song, "A Trace of Home." Now you might want to give a bit of a background on this, and also maybe mention the special guest that is on this track, right?
Yeah, for sure. So we got Katy Perry to sing some parts for this song.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Yeah, I mean, I did not expect you to pull it off, honestly.
I know, me neither, man. But I got in contact with John Mayer, and John was like, "That's my ex, but I'll ask." You know, yeah.
I get it.
So A Trace of Home, story-wise, is so this actually these lyrics, I think most of them, like 80% or 90% of them, were written by Luigi, the other guitarist.
Oh, that's awesome. Luigi, who is in the chat right now. Hi, Luigi. Say hi, Luigi.
The other guitarist, but the whole song was actually written by him. I didn't write that song. That's like one of the very few songs on the album that I didn't write.
Was this also something new in that regard? Because I know that obviously you started Avandra, and and with skylighting, the whole situation with COVID.
Yeah, 100%. This is the first time that I've allowed him to contribute anything.
Dude, I didn't mean it like that. It's the first time
that I let him. He's begged me many times, "Please, master, please include my songs." And I'm like, nope. No. When Dobby is a better servant, then he'll get a song on the album. And,
dude, no, we cannot go this way, man.
He did some good favors, killed a few people that I wanted gone, and so I allowed him to have one of the songs on the album. And so this is that song. There's two of them when we get to the next one. And essentially, this song is it's. So this song actually went through different versions. There was a version that actually didn't have all the wanky version midsection.
Right.
The thingy, which I now love. At that moment, I was kind of like, no, we must strip everything down and like make songs that are 5 minutes long and no longer. Okay. I don't know what the hell was going through my brain at that moment, but
it seemed like a good idea back then.
Yeah, well, I mean, but that kind of thinking was why Skylighting came out the way it came. So, but it worked for that album. It would not have worked for this one. So, good thing for COVID.
Huh? Holy shit!
The thing is that I'm kidding, of course. So this song actually, that whole midsection, I hadn't. It was the first time. This is another interesting part. This was the first time that I had to create guitar parts based on the work of another person.
Yeah, I can imagine. Band, Yeah, so like trying to get inside his head, get inside of that headspace, right? Like a bit
right.
Yeah.
And so once I saw this could be considered an Avandra song, it was more of all right, you have all these parts, now I have to create my own. It was a lot easier than I thought. I was kind of nervous about it because I hadn't done that in years, but it came out in like a day or two. I had like the whole thing already down.
Okay, so in that sense, it was just a matter of getting into the zone, and then suddenly it just flowed out, basically.
Yeah, full. That's what she's. And so the thing is that, I mean, it was great. It was great, and I think the song works really well. And as far as there's actually two featurings. Vikram Shankar, which I don't even know if to say featuring anymore, man. Vic
it's like Vic. I mean, Vic is very much a part of this record in that regard. So I would even you should mention him, but I kind of feel that he's like an extended band member on this record anyway, in a way, for doing the amount of tracks. But there is a special guest here that just does this track, and I feel that that's something you should definitely mention. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got the Cookie Monster doing some great growls as well. He does amazing.
I'm trying to help you.
All the growls that you hear, that's the Cookie Monster. Of
course, that's the Cookie Monster.
All the cleans. So I had done the cleans for this album, but I wasn't for this particular song. But I wasn't like sold on the idea 100%, and I kind of wanted to. I had guest musicians on the other albums. Like Richard Henshaw was on one of the songs from Descender. Kevin Moore, Kevin Moore was on one of the songs from Descender called Derelict Minds. And Vic was obviously in like 6 out of the 7 songs in Skylighting, so he was in most of that album. But I got David Fremberg from Andromeda to agree to make a song or sing one of the songs. And since I had already written out the melody, like already recorded it, all he had to do was kind of like just listen to it and then record his version of it. Because David Fremberg, so here's an unpopular opinion. Yes. I am not a fan of a lot of metal singers. I know that for a lot of people is like, what? But Yolanda, man. It's like, okay, he's great. But I mean, like, I'm not a big fan of metal singers. Like, my favorite singer is like Paul McCartney and Jamiroquai. Jay from Jamiroquai.
No, exactly, right.
So those are like my favorite singers, So I'm not a big metal dude, but I do love David Fremberg's vocals because I find that his vocals kind of like skip out of the cliche.
Yeah, I agree.
David completely move out of the cliche. Of
he has a very specific. He has a very specific timbre. Yeah, and it's like I feel that it's a good choice as well because it complements yours. I feel that the combination of you two seems to work really well.
When I was a kid, I mean, because I discovered Andromeda when their first album was like just released.
2002 or something, right?
2000 or 2001. I was like 15, 16 years old. That wasn't him. That wasn't.
Right. That was the other guy.
David Fremberg. That was McElroy or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And he was a good singer as well. But I always wanted that band. When I heard 2 = 1 in 2003, 2004. Right. I always thought, man, 2003, because I remember that thinking like, man, if only Andromeda would re-record the vocals of the first album, I would love that. And like literally a year later came out the final extension, which is the first album re-recorded with David Fremberg's voice.
Right.
And I became a huge fan of like trying to emulate the feel of that particular voice.
Right.
Obviously we don't sound alike in timbre, but we emotionally and melodically, there was a lot of stuff that I took from him and from Russell Allen as well.
Of course,
Russell Allen is another singer that I really like. Even though I had a music teacher that did not like, he would say things like, Russell Allen has an amazing talent, but I feel like he's screaming at me all the time. Like even in the softer parts, he's like, it's like, and he's like, I can't do it. And I understood that later on, but I still think he's like, for example, The Edge of Forever is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Preaching to the choir. I mean, Russell Allen's the guy that got me singing. So yeah, I hear
right, exactly,
absolutely.
And so I think Russell Allen and David Fremberg were two of the people that really kind of inspired me to sing the way that I do in a lot of stuff. Apart from other pop stuff, I'm a big fan of, like I said, Paul McCartney, John Mayer, and I hadn't really heard a voice like this in metal, prog metal per se. So I was like, you know what? Maybe that's where our uniqueness can lie. And for a lot of people, that is where our uniqueness lies.
Yeah, I think so too. I've seen reviews the first time when I signed you guys. I remember when we were in talks about it, I read reviews from Descender with people saying like, I never thought I would hear John Mayer singing with a prog metal band, but here we are, like that kind of feel. And I honestly, that is also why I really like the kind of stuff that you do. I mean, it's like it's not just meant to be a circle jerk about how cool Avandra is, but yeah, I figured I wanted to throw that out now that this is obviously on the table. But I figured, we talked about this enough. Let's go to the next song. Let's go to A Trace of Home, okay? Shall we do that?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, A Trace of Gnomes.
Face the mirror in the skies, a new beginning to unearth. Show my enemy no fear. Take control of both winds by my side.
And we are back again. Hello. I see that some more people have joined us in the chat. Sebastian is here. Hello. And he was creaming himself over the solo. Good to see that. We had Guli Van Forge, who is also here now. Good to see you. Everyone, welcome to this fine little party we're having right now. Is that a pupper? Can you show? It's a pupper. Are we going to see the pupper? Ladies and gentlemen, we're 4 songs in. Yeah.
He's just really heavy and to make him. Okay.
He might join us later. Elfo might join us later.
Yeah,
Would be great.
Yeah.
Okay,
both
so
Elfo and Cora are here, but
awesome. Well, we'll see whenever they jump on the couch to join us in this adventure right now. Okay, so we just had the song "A Trace of Home." I see a lot of people vibing to this song, really, really strong. So that's good to see. And we're now heading into 2 songs which have a title that starts with "in." We have "In Träumen." For those of you who don't have their German correctly, it means "in dreams." And "In Memoriam," which is Latin for pretension. And I am just and I'm very curious what the connection between these 2 songs is, Chris. So if you would enlighten me, please. Like, what is happening in the story now? A Trace of Home happened, and then what?
So A Trace of Home in the end, he feels like there's something not right. Like, if you read the lyrics of Trace of Home, he's actually kind of looking for this. He feels like he doesn't belong where he is, and he's I'm trying to think if those lyrics are Trace of Home or Daybreak. No, it's Trace of Home. Okay. And so he feels like a strong sense of revenge for the people that destroyed his village throughout Trace of Home. Right. And so he joins the army, and he joins the people that he thinks could be the vehicle for the destruction of the rebels that destroyed his town. Right. But there's something he doesn't like. There's still some inkling of something's not right here. Yeah, like something's off. The vibes are off, right? Yeah. And when he goes to sleep that night, that's where Träumen comes in, where it's kind of like because at the end of Trace of Home, they say "come closer." There's a line that says "come closer," which is repeated throughout in dreams, and it's his mother, a memory of his mother calling him closer to tell him that something's off. Essentially, right? Yeah, like a premonition. Yeah, and from a technical standpoint, from a musical standpoint, the piano in that song I really like, because it's even though it's a repeating riff, it's something like, if you've ever heard "The Optimist" by Anathema, specifically the song "San Francisco." San Francisco and Springfield. Those 2 songs they're just piano songs that repeat the same riff, and what they do is that they kind of like layer stuff on top of that. Right. And in this particular case, in Träumen has like the piano, but then the delays start growing, and so by the midsection, the delay of the piano is like very extensive, and you hear like the birds singing and stuff like that, because he's very deep in his dream. Yeah, it's a dreamlike state, basically. Yeah, exactly. And then by the end, he starts waking up. So everything starts toning down, the delay starts going down, and everything starts going down until the piano has no more delay, and it's just the piano, and the last chord is him waking up.
Okay, then we know what we are talking about and what this is about. And then In Memoriam follows up on that. I figured we talked about this. I figured it might be a good idea to do In Träumen and then In Memoriam immediately after that, because I felt that there was a connection between the two. And what is In Memoriam about then? Just for those who, before we're diving into those two.
I wanted to keep it like it was in the theme of In Träumen, where it's kind of like in dreams and then in memories.
Right.
You know, In Memoriam is him trying to recover these lost memories of, you know, his mother's face, for example. And he feels like his dreams are telling him something that about why it's all feeling all, you know, off.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the final choice, final countdown. So it's the final choice to decide whether he wants to face, you know, the whole apparatus of the military and stuff like that, or what to do, essentially. So that's why at the end of the song it says, you know, face this armored dreadnought.
Right, that's the one that follows up, and we're going to talk about that obviously once In Memoriam is done.
Yeah, because the In Memoriam has the name of the next song.
Right. Okay. That transitions into it. Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna go for a double whammy. We're gonna start with In Träumen, and then we will segue into In Memoriam. So hold on to your pants, because we're gonna go into two songs here. This one's called In Träumen. ladies and gentlemen, we are back after that double whammy of In Träumen and In Memoriam. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are still enjoying it. I see a lot happening in the chat saying, oh, I just said I hope you're enjoying it, and I see a comment by Cropsy saying, I'm really enjoying this. So that's like perfect timing right there. So what are the lyrics to this song? Sebastian, the lyrics are in the booklet and they will be on the website later as well. Though, knowing Sebastian, it might have been a joke, considering that In Träumen does not really have lyrics. But still, you know, what are you gonna do? Let's see what's happening here in the chat. Cropsy says here that he did a really long drive listening to Descender, and that's what hooked me onto this band. And here is Vikram, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Vikram Shankar has joined the chat. He, you came a bit late, yes, but you're still very, very welcome. Nice to see you here. And just in time for the unison shred, as Vikram said. Apparently came in right on time. Well, we just had like this double whammy, and Chris, we're gonna go to the song which I think has the best song title ever, and I kind of am annoyed that you got it, because as a writer I would have wanted to have this one myself, because it's a fucking amazing title. So what is the title of this song, and what does it mean, Chris?
So it's called Facing An Armored Dreadnought. And I was explaining to you where I got it. I got it from one of my most geek activities ever, which is playing EVE Online. So I was playing EVE Online. I got 255 Dreadnought. I was going to buy a Dreadnought, and I thought to myself, I'm going to go to null space where there's no security, because nobody will dare face an armored Dreadnought. And boom, that's where the name.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay, hold that thought for a second. I feel that this is the moment that everyone in the chat, including me, goes, nerd! Okay, we got it. We got it out of our system. It's a collective thing. Good. Now, if you please enlighten us about what the song is actually about in the context of the song, because the end of In Memoriam, how did In Memoriam end? Just for the reference.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm getting there. Okay. So In Memoriam ends with the guy deciding to go against kind of like the whole apparatus that when he was a child he was taken towards, the military essentially. So he's going against all the military-industrial complex and all the apparatus it serves, and so yeah, I mean, this is like a second journey after New Beginnings.
Because he joined the army to basically fight the army. That's what you're saying, like the industrial apparatus in a way.
He joined the army in order, this is a trace of home, in order to fight the rebels.
Right.
But now he has to decide what he wants to, if he wants to go with what the dreams are telling him that something's not right, and investigate the apparatus, which the action of investigating that he calls Facing an Armored Dreadnought, because that's what it is. You're facing this huge institution that's really powerful,
And in a way, but also almost biting the hand that feeds you, you could say, in a way, right?
Yeah. Nine Inch Nails would be proud, Trent Reznor. So they have a song called the
I know. And it's just but in this sense it made sense. Also, I see a lot of nerd love in the chat, and I agree. I mean, I'm a shameless nerd myself, and I feel that everyone in the prog scene, I still have to meet the prog musician who's not a nerd, man. Come on, let's be honest about that.
I'll be honest with you though, Vikram is cool. Vikram doesn't play games.
Vikram is like the one guy who's not a nerd. We found the one nerd.
And he's all about the music, man. He doesn't play anything. He doesn't care about you or anything else. He cares about the music.
Yeah, fair.
But just messing with you, Vic. But no, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people in the prog space, like for example, Luigi, the other guitarist, and Chemi, the bassist, are both like movie nerds. They've seen probably more than 1,000 movies in their lifetime. Every time I think I found a new one, they're like, "Oh yeah, I have it on DVD, special edition." It's like, fuck, Jesus Christ.
You gotta love those people, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Adrián is so Luigi and Chemi are both big movie nerds, and and it's so it's great, and but now Facing an Armored Dreadnought is like essentially exactly what you just said. Do you bite the hand that feeds you? And that's kind of like, and so he starts doubting, and so he becomes like the angels in Supernatural, where doubt, kind of makes them rebel, and so.
You've been watching. Yeah, okay. So this guy's been watching Supernatural.
For like the fourth time now. It's too good.
It's like someone has been on a Supernatural binge. I mean, I'm not one to judge. I've been on a Hades binge in video game department. I haven't watched any shows. I've just been playing Hades every night because that's my addiction and hyperfocus right now. So I'm not one to judge on anyone's hyperfocus. Easy as that.
So basically, this is what the song is about. Like all the doubts that make him rebel against God, and like, does he face the armored dreadnought? You know, like essentially just that. What you said. Do I bite the hand that feeds me or not? You know.
Will this person bite the foot that feeds them? According to Lizzie, that's what the chat says. Well, we will find out, ladies and gentlemen. Facing an Armored Dreadnought. And we are back. Okay, so we just heard Facing an Armored Dreadnought. Pretty intense song. I quite like this one as well. I think it's like I said, the Downpour is my favorite right now, but I feel that Facing is a pretty good second on this record for me personally. See some comments in the chat saying Queensryche vibes. Oh, that's not bad. The G sharp, love it. It's a good G sharp in that song. And
I mean, yeah, it might be actually now that the person says it, because I was a big fan of Operation Mindcrime for many years.
Oh, there you go.
Listened to that for a very long time.
And that's actually Ron. That is Ron, the singer. I'm producing a solo album for. Shameless plug because I'm producing it. Fuck that. Doing it. And but yeah, the G sharp is being mentioned. So lush and enveloping. Yeah, good stuff. And I see that Cropsy's actually saying that he's feeling some Nine Inch Nails vibes there as well. I want to comment on that.
Oh yeah. I mean, vocally, Trent Reznor again is one of my favorites of all time, and he doesn't even he's not even in tune most of the time. If you listen to Trent Reznor,
it's intensity. It's really the intensity.
Exactly, it's out. And so, but actually, you know what's funny though? Is that the melody was also kind of stolen, or is an homage.
Is it now?
Not a Nine Inch Nails song, but a Massive Attack song. The Teardrop song.
Dude, I love Teardrop. That's a beautiful song, yeah.
When every time it goes like that, I can't sing it right now because I don't have the melody in my head, but even know. Can't remember the lyrics.
Honestly, I get it.
This is what happens when you finish one album and you immediately start working on the other one.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never had this happen in my life. This is totally unrelatable, says the person who has 12 albums on his hard drive waiting to be finished. So exactly, yeah, I know what this feels like. Yeah.
It's horrible because then you have to work so hard to just remember the stuff that you've already done.
I can also
you're already so focused on the new stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It is like the moment you have to play it live is like, how the fuck did I? What is happening? Yeah. It's like, what is this?
So this particular song, the melodies and a lot of the effects were 100% influenced by Nine Inch Nails. Awesome. 100%. I'm a huge Nine Inch Nails fan, so just massive.
I think we've literally been geeking out about that a few times as well when you guys were here. So I completely we're heading into the next track, which is Dissembling the Artifice. I hope I'm pronouncing. Yeah, it's hard to pronounce that because a part of me wants to say artifice, but I'm like, that makes no sense. Why the hell would I do that? But
the artifice,
yeah. So it's like, what is the transition from? Okay, so Facing an Armored Dreadnought, the person makes a decision. I take it.
He makes
what happens?
So in Dissembling, once he faces the Armored Dreadnought and makes the decision to actually research what actually happened in his village, he finds the truth of it.
Right.
And so he has to. Well, this is more of the Earth Inside type thing, but he has to make another choice, which is what to do now with this information.
Yeah, it's like he gains the knowledge here, basically, in this
exactly.
track.
This song is his, and the grunts and the growls and stuff like that are there for a purpose, which is like he's mad.
Yeah, this is the angry song. I felt that this is the really angry song on this record, absolutely.
Which is why it's really kind of like really heavy, kind of like even kind of doomish in certain parts of it. And so this is the part where all that happens.
Awesome. Okay, well, I just wanted to we're gonna prepare everyone for the heavy song is coming in. I'm just quickly checking the chat if there's anything that we have missed. In the meantime, it's so much fun to have that delay going on. But yeah, I think we've got everything in the chat, everybody in the chat fixed up. So, ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your butts, because here is Dissembling the Artifice.
As I stare in despair,
And we are back. Okay, the Artifice has been dissembled. And yeah, that was pretty heavy. Let's see. Oh, there's a lot of people saying that the heaviness of this song definitely works for them. It's absolutely one of the more punishing songs on the records. Also, it was Ron who made the comment saying just what the doctor ordered at this point to also, reinvigorate and give a bit of an extra push. Is there anything you would like to add to that, Chris, in that regard?
So, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't listen to anything that you said before this. What happened?
Thank you for that. I mean, you're still ordering Chinese food, aren't you? I mean, it's like you're still in the middle of ordering Chinese food. That's what you're doing.
Well, the Chinese, they don't understand English very well. Go ahead. What were we saying?
That maybe you might want to try Google Translate. No, but I mean, Dissembling obviously is I would say the most metal song on the record in terms of face value, because I feel that there's a lot of metal in the whole album. But this is the one that you could technically play to death metal fans and they'd be able to stomach it as well, if you know what I mean, right? Like that's
I mean, like, by the way, that Chinese comment is gonna get us canceled.
Probably.
So basically, what this song is a lot more. I'm not gonna say it's straightforward because there's a lot of like technical aspects to it, like from time signature changes to tempo changes to just a lot of wiggly woos that are kind of like not easy to do. But it's definitely meant to elicit kind of like, kind of like the heaviness of that part in particular of the song. I've told Tom this before, I'm not a metal guy per se. I don't like any particular genre. I like bands within genre.
Yeah, and then you combine what you like, basically. Yeah.
I find a lot of progressive music boring, for example, especially now what's going on nowadays with prog, which is like, okay, sure, this is prog, I guess. But it's a process. It's a process of. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But it's like the way you're approaching it is not that. So basically, what you're saying is you're not necessarily writing an active metal song. It's like I'm gonna write a metal song now. It's just like it happens because you combine the things you like. Basically, that's
the process is just like what sounds good for this particular song, and that's it. I enjoy writing more moody stuff usually. I enjoy writing, that kind of heavy stuff. I can listen to it because I'm a big fan of Opeth, for example. Opeth is a huge influence in my life. And In Flames, Children of Bottom, and all this
so
stuff.
there is metal in there. It's just that you're not just listening to metal, basically.
That's not at all. And I can listen to it, but when I go to write it, it's like, I don't know, man. It doesn't like captivate me as much as I feel like it's more of a waste of time rather than writing the stuff that I actually like, the more moody kind of skylighting stuff. But for this particular album, that song worked perfect, which is why it's there. Because it has that rawness, it has that aggressive kind of capacity behind it, which is what I was looking for this particular album. The next album might be completely different. It might be completely Tears for Fearish,
which would also be awesome. I mean, I'd be up for that. Definitely.
I love Tears for Fears. Or it might be like a mix of that with Nine Inch Nails. So it's it's whatever works for the album, which is why I don't ever want to have people say, this is going to sound weird, but I don't want to have people say that Avandra have found their sound.
Yeah, no, it's fun.
Like in a way,
I agree with you.
And it's detrimental in the sense of like, from a commercial perspective, because even from a review perspective, some reviewers can say things like, "Oh, these people haven't really found their sound yet," and they don't get that you're not trying to fall. It's like, of course, Neil Peart had the best lines. Like just little snippets of things he would say. Yeah. And he says that, Rush didn't come with any preconceived notion of what it was.
No, exactly.
So so it never fell in a box of anything in particular.
Right, it was just Rush, and at a certain point, it's like you have a whole discography that is so all over the place and in and out of bounds that people will just know that it's you. And I feel that that is also I mean, honestly, if that's a connection that I tend to make with all the artists at Layered Reality, and what I do myself, what you guys are doing, is like I feel that is also what's binding all of us. I mean, I know it's a shameless plug for the Layered Reality ethos in this case, but that is the thing that is. Then it becomes interesting. It's like if you start making the same stuff you've already done 5 times before, then it's like, okay, well, you're really good at that, but it's also very safe and not exactly challenging my mind.
I mean, that's what, and I find a lot of metal, like, okay, I'm going to throw a name out there. It's not going to be, it's an unpopular opinion, but like Arch Enemy. I love Arch Enemy. Those first 3 albums, great. 4th album, all right, more of the same. 5th album, same shit. 6th album, same shit. 7th album, same shit. And it's just a formula that works for them because
I mean it's selling out stadiums, isn't it? So it's
exactly
because
it's a formula that works for them. But I mean, from a musician standpoint and from like an interesting standpoint, it's not interesting at all. It's just it's the rehashed kind of like what's the name of that? When you just kind of rehash, it's a formulaic thing. Well, but it's cookie cutter.
I remember that Roger Waters once said that regarding Pink Floyd albums as well. That he said that after Dark Side, that it was like they didn't want to do Dark Side again because then it would become a sausage factory. Then it just becomes standing at this thing and churning out the same stuff.
A lot of metal is just it's very cookie cutter. A lot of metal is, and those are the bands that you see the people with the tattoos and the
Don't get me wrong. The thing is,
stuff,
if I can add to that, I kind of feel the same in that regard. Like it's, I love metal, in the sense that we are inspired by it, but you can love something and also see its limitations. You can also it's like yes, there's metal cliches that I definitely fall into, and then there's things that make me go like, that's not really for me, and that's why we make prog. I mean that's why we're here.
Why, for me, it's kind of funny when I see like even Dream Theater fell into this trap. Like I've heard the last Dream Theater songs, the Alien stuff like that, and it's just like this is more of the same stuff. And it's just, I
get it but I feel that in the case of Dream Theater, it's like at the same time, there's also a point where a band maybe has reached a certain point where they're like, what, we are Dream Theater, we are the biggest prog band in the world, and maybe they're allowed to do that. And I think it's...
But I think it's a comfort zone. I think it still falls into a comfort zone of this is what makes us money. Because fine, and I know there's like 2 worlds here.
There's the world of paying your mortgage and
exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's people that are going to say that, but I mean like, and then there's the world that says, well, I mean, why not experiment? I mean, in my opinion, Dream Theater could still experiment, and they'd still make a lot of money. And so, because they've reached that point where there's such a household name where they could, but I just don't think Petrucci's interested in that. I think he's going for the very easy stuff, the stuff that he knows is just going to market really well, and let's just do that. Which is, again, fine if that's what they want to do. But it's not something that we want to do.
No, and I feel that judging on, I'm also looking at the chat here, multiple band members chiming in on this. Actually, someone asked the question like what the process is in the band, and José says here like I'm just gonna scroll up really quick because there's a lot of stuff happening here. José says Chris is the main composer, but he shows us the idea, and we put our input into the song. And in this album in particular, we all put our own ideas on how to play the song, and that's how a song transforms. That makes sense. And also that's often how bands work. You have like one person who sets out the lines, but the way those lines are colored obviously can differ massively based on what everyone contributes.
Like in my case, the reason why I do it like that is because I had been in so many bands before Avandra. I took a long hiatus where it was like 10 years without any band, but the whole jamming thing to like create songs got boring really quick,
and some people thrive on that, but some don't. Yeah, I'm the same. I love, and I know that Lenny is in the chat here as well with Dreamwalkers Inc. I kind of like controlled writing. I do like putting everyone's ideas together, but I like the idea of having a controlled environment in which you actually write, as opposed to just riffing off of each other and not really having a plan. You know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like.
And this particular album actually has the most interaction of the band members.
That's cool.
Like this is the album that really has. Again, Luigi wrote 2 songs for the album. we mixed the album as a band. Like, I would obviously dedicate more time because I had all the tracks and I have the most mixing knowledge out of all of us. But like, this is the first album that it has been mixed in-house, even though it was mastered by Daniel Schwartz.
Daniel Schwartz from Astronoid, who did an amazing job.
He's still involved.
Right. Because
Dan mixed Descender and Dan mixed Skylighting as well. But for this particular album, we thought his style was a bit too sleek. We wanted something a little bit more chaotic. Plus, financially, we weren't in the place to be able to be like, hey, we're going to pay you for
but to be fair,
songs is a lot.
No, but to be fair, it is a lot, and it also makes sense. I mean, his work is worth it, just to put that out there. But sometimes you just got to spend the money where you can spend it at that point in time. But I feel that with this album, it actually might have been a blessing in disguise because it has a very unique sound. And it's like, we were talking about this earlier. When I heard the album the first time, I had a bit of a, wait, what just happened? Because obviously from Skylighting going into this, it's like, that was a bit of an adjustment period, but not a bad one though. I actually kind of like it when a band is able to release one album, you're like, okay, this is the sound of this band now. And then suddenly you listen to another album and it sounds, well, it's the same band because you recognize the vocals or the playing or whatever, but I'm quite okay with having multiple sounds because you're not the same. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at everyone in the chat here, but are you the same person you were a year ago? I mean, I'm not even the same person I was 2 weeks ago, let alone, making the same thing over and over again.
Agreed. And the thing is also, a lot of the albums, the way that I kind of like construct it is in my head, I have a process of how I want the whole mythos to that's way too epic for it, but the whole mythos of what Avandra is, like, every album fits like a puzzle within the discography of Avandra. It's so sometimes somebody might hear an album like Skylighting for a lot of people was like a shock coming from Descender because it was much more ambient. It still had intricate parts and intricate kind of like time signature changes and weirdness to it, but it was much more atmospheric, less guitar driven, more keyboard ambience driven, which is something that I wanted to do.
Also, credits to Vic for that because he added so much to Skylighting. Absolutely.
Yeah, even the songs, like for example, I had Celestial Wreaths actually already had the keyboards written, but Vic took them and just made a whole completely new thing out of them. He just completely like the sounds and the feel and just everything. He took that whole album up as extra. It's my favorite album. Like, it's the album, like our album, that I can actually listen to over and over again, more than Descender and Tymora. Is Skylighting. That's actually my favorite.
But to be fair, Vic, I know Vic's still here because I see it happening in the chat, and it's I feel that this is a big compliment to you, so please, hats off to you on that. Now, we are heading into the final two songs of the record because obviously we tend to get sidetracked, and we have all the time in the world. There's no time limit on that, but we do want to get back to the music. And we're going to track number 9, which is The Earth Inside. What do you want to add to The Earth Inside? Is there something specific? Also, is the Chinese finally coming, or what's the deal?
No, dude, they still don't get my order.
Ah, shit.
But so essentially, it's The Earth Inside is at the end of Dissembling The Artifice. Essentially, what happens is that he decides to like kind of go back home. Home being a very huge. I should have said this like a long time ago with A Trace of Home, but home is a very important concept within this whole thing. Like, like this whole home is where the heart is type of thing. So even though he was taken from a very young age over to this new place, he's always felt like this village that was destroyed and that he left, from a very young age was still his home. So the concept of home is very important. It serves kind of like an anchor to everything else happening. And so The Earth Inside is the other song written by Luigi.
Right. And shout out to Luigi. Awesome, man.
Yeah. Musically, he wrote it. Lyrically, I wrote it.
Makes sense.
And so it kind of follows this whole idea of like, even if you can be living in someplace else, you can be, living your life somewhere else, but the earth inside is kind of like that. It's home. It's the soil of your home.
Well,
that you're always going to carry inside of you. The world can crumble around you,
but you'll still have your home with you, right?
Yeah, exactly. You carry your home wherever you go. So that's the whole idea of this.
That is really pretty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the song. Here is The Earth Inside. We are back, and it was funny because both Chris and me, we've been doing this. We're almost at the second hour, and we're now at the final song. But we were just making a reference that we both needed to piss real bad, so it was almost a competition of running to the toilet, and being sure that we were back on time, because That also happens. We've been here for a while already. But anyway, lovely people.
Bleeding the lizard is very important.
Bleeding the lizard is incredibly important, and it's so nice to see all of you here in the chat and still people joining us. I see David Matos asking, "Hey, Metal Boris." I don't know who Metal Boris is, but when is the release date? I think it was Metal Boys, and it probably auto-corrected it into Boris or something. But the release date is tomorrow, because that's the point. We are doing this tonight, and tomorrow. It's going to be available on CD worldwide. You can get it through Layered Reality Productions and through avandrapr.com. American orders should go through avandrapr.com, because then you're paying less shipping. It's an important thing to mention. And obviously Europe and Asia and the rest of the world goes through Layered Reality Productions. So there you go. And of course, if everything goes well, no, actually we're doing Bandcamp tomorrow morning. Like I'm literally setting up Bandcamp and all those things tomorrow morning, because, well, it's European time. We're already heading into the night here, and then you should have it available when you live in the United States regions tomorrow, the moment you wake up. That's the idea. So then you know. What else can we add to that, ladies and gentlemen? We just had like the pre-final song, "The Earth Inside." And we're now heading into the final track, Daybreak. Now, Chris, The Earth Inside, obviously, you gave a bit of a description of what that was, and you're still having a hard time ordering Chinese food. I get it. I mean, it would be nice if we actually ended up having dinner at a certain point. That would be great. It's like, I think that's also going to be the tagline of this video. Like, will Chris finally order Chinese food? Watch the full stream to find out. You know, like that would be really good. But okay, so we just had The Earth Inside, and then it segues into Daybreak. Is there anything you would like to say about Daybreak, the closing track of this album?
So this particular track deals with the Count from Sesame Street. I don't know if you've seen him. And exactly. And it's about his journey through death and like all the thoughts that came, like, will I drink human blood, or will I survive with rats? No. So Daybreak has a lot to do with.
I mean, we are 2 hours in. I was hoping we would get to a substantial level of deeper philosophy, but no. And at this point, I agree with Vikram. Metal Boris is actually a fantastic band name. Like that should be the new side project for someone somewhere. I don't know, but yeah. Okay. Let's try this again. Daybreak. What is it about, Chris?
So the song, the main protagonist decides to go. Like, okay, so he's faced with a choice essentially. Like, do I seek vengeance somehow and go home and because of course the main, I guess, revelation of Dissembling the Artifice. I'm doing a horrible job at narration.
It's like, we are actually promoting an album, and Chris is like, he's ordering Chinese, and we're just randomly talking about all this shit. Yeah, great.
But that's the passive nihilism of today's world. So
there we go.
The thing is, at the end of Dissembling the Artifice, essentially what happens is that the protagonist obviously discovers that he was told a lie. Like, he was told to join the army and fight against these rebels because the rebels destroyed his village, and then he discovers that it's the people that he's been, it's the military that he joined that were the actual culprits of his village being destroyed.
Okay.
So he feels extremely betrayed by that, obviously, which is, the ending of Dissembling the Artifice. And The Earth Inside then is like this idea of going back home, but what is he going back home to? Is he going back home?
What is it? What is he going to find? Yeah.
Exactly. Or is it more of a thing of like, is it more of I'm going to say this is going to be horrible, an Osama bin Laden thing where I'm going to make like the Al-Qaeda and wreak revenge on these people? Or will it be a much more Gandhi type route of more passivity? It's like, I mean, Gandhi himself wasn't a saint, but, kind of like this protest and peace type thing. And he chooses to go the protest, the MLK, I have a dream.
Yeah, like trying to change the world for the better, basically, as opposed to bringing more violence.
Instead of destroying somewhere else, he decides to rebuild where he is. like help rebuild his home. And so the ending of Daybreak, the lyrics are very important because it's kind of like the closure. So this whole thing is like it's like the hero's journey. It's like Luke Skywalker.
It's classic hero's
Luke
journey.
Skywalker.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, the kid is Luke Skywalker. He leaves. You know, he gets his family killed. He leaves. He gets trained and whatever, and he comes back to the beginning. Mm-hmm. But in a completely changed way. So it's a hero of 1,000 faces, or whatever the name is, by Joseph Campbell. Mm-hmm. The whole hero's journey thing, where it's a little kid, village destroyed, leaves his home, learns a shit ton of stuff, grows up, comes back a completely different person.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And so it's that whole hero's journey, which is something that I really love. I've always, it's simple, but I've always loved that idea.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, let's face it, it was actually William Shakespeare already said that basically all stories told in the world can be brought back to like 7 archetypical story concepts, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know,
it's been narrowed down. There are people that say there's 3, other people that say there's only 1.
Yeah, it's
but the thing is that this is why the album, great revelation here. The album is called Prodigal because it's like the prodigal son.
Right. So yeah, I figured.
You know, the guy that leaves and then comes back, and so that's the whole concept behind the name of the album. And I don't know. Like I said, I've always been a fan of. I love the first trilogy of Star Wars.
Who doesn't?
So that idea,
that's awesome
so
stuff,
that
right?
idea of I mean, Lucas himself got the whole idea of like the Tatooine, leaves, trains, comes back.
Yeah, exactly.
From Joseph Campbell himself. So
right.
So this is kind of my version of this is my I guess contribution to that whole concept of it.
I love it. I think that is really, really cool. Also, just to tie the record together and put a bow around it, so to speak.
Yeah,
also, I'm checking the chat right now, and I see that the guys in Need, John from Need from Greece is here. Hey man, nice to see you. Nice to have you here. It's been a long time since we talked. I believe the last time John and I spoke was at a very, very crummy night somewhere in Cologne, which is probably a memory we both rather remove from our collective memories, but still, it was fun. It was a fun experience.
Was it during festival season?
It was, let's just put it this way, it was a show, but I'm not even sure if it classified as a show or more like just desperately trying to survive in the circumstances giving to us. Let's put it that way. It's one of those cool rock and roll stories that you wish you'd never have to experience ever again. Let's put it that way. But yeah, great.
Need, for the chat, Need is a band that you guys need to check out.
Oh shit! Yeah, but it's true.
I've been a fan.
It is true though. It is amazing stuff. So nice of you to join us here, John.
I listen to them on a pretty regular basis.
Awesome. Well, that's good shit. I mean, and I see a lot of people jumping in on that right here. Ron Brouwer actually says, like, I can identify with the hero of the story even if I've never experienced what this person experiences, and I feel that is that kind of goes back to the archetype of the story that we talked about. Like, it's about being able to connect to people through this recognizable structure, and the way you fill up that recognizable structure, well, that is obviously completely.
That's what she said. But I mean, there is
you can put so much creativity in that. Basically.
Yeah, and there is a Jungian Carl Jung. I'm not a big fan of Carl Jung, but the stuff I do like about him is kind of like the archetypes type stuff. So you can tell a story where even if the particular experiences aren't exactly that, there is still a shadow self to discover.
Right, yeah, exactly. There's more layers to it that you might discover when you listen to this more, which is of course what we encourage everyone to do with this album, because this is one of those records that needs more plays to properly land. I know I've listened to a lot of prog in my life, I would say by now, and even then even then listening to the record now, I still have things that jump out to me, which is great. I love records like that. Okay, so I feel that we just need to get into the final track. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the final song? We're going to end this album, and this one is called Daybreak, and we will be back after that song. But hold on, this is going to be quite a ride. This is Daybreak. And here we are at the end of the record. That was Daybreak. And that was Prodigal, Avandra's brand new record that's coming out worldwide tomorrow. Through Spotify, on CD, on your microwave, on your dog, and on many other things, wherever you'd want to. Speaking of dog, you still owe us a pupper. Show us the pupper. Look at the pupper. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who stay till the end, look at how cute this pupper is. I mean, that's what we're here for. This music stuff doesn't matter. It's all about the pupper. We were just here to see puppies. And
That's Cora.
That's Cora. And I'm still waiting for Elfo, but I'm not sure when Elfo is going to be on screen. Elfo, where are you? Ah, there's Elfo. Look at the little shit. You're adorable. No.
Little, he is not. He's a big motherfucker.
He's a big boy. Ladies and gentlemen, you just went through the whole hero's journey with me and Chris, which is this album, Prodigal. Chris, I figured that, wanted to give you the stage one more time to give your final thoughts on the record regarding what we just gave them. So take it away.
Yeah. So I love this album. I'm really proud of it. It's the first album that also includes José Miguel Vázquez Cherry on bass, and I think he did an amazing job at it because I didn't have to write any of the bass parts or most of the bass parts. He just kind of went in and did his shit really, really fucking well. It's this last song had Vic on it as well. Vic on it. So for those that want to know, the second song, Downpour, the fourth song, The Trace of Home.
I believe. Wait, let me help you because I got it right here.
What are the songs? Can you tell me the songs?
The list. Let me. Shall I do this as a?
In Memoriam.
I'll do it as a dramatic reading. The keys are played by Vikram Shankar on the songs 2, 4, 6, and 10.
Yeah.
Was that dramatic enough? Did I do a good job?
That was good. That was a Princess Bride type thing.
I was going for that kind of shit. Yeah.
We are gathered here today. So and he also does a solo for Pharaoh, which I mentioned, Codename Pharaoh, which I mentioned at the beginning. Actually, funny thing is that the album, it's not funny at all, but the album was actually going to be called Pharaoh at the beginning. But then
we go.
You know what, Prodigal is a better name. And so I kind of just landed like that. I was listening to Porcupine Tree because they have a song called Prodigal. So
there we go. The rain keeps falling on the grass.
So beautiful.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I love that record. I love that record.
Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, so the thing is that most of the heavy songs have Vic in it. Obviously, again, taking the songs to a different level for me. Every time I listen to the tracks, I can't help but smile. I listen to all his stuff
Yes. Also,
again, it's one of these things where we don't have to I don't think I've ever told him can you work on this part because it needs or whatever this way. It's it's just an instant click. Which is why,
now it's on video. Now the whole world will hear it, and Vic hears it as well. So there you go.
There you go.
You just spoiled the secret there. There's no mystery left. You ruined it. Thank you. Well done. I'm so proud of you.
The thing is that's always really worked with Vic. I mean, since we worked in Skylighting, has always been kind of these are the songs. What can you do with them? He sends me something back, and it's all right, this is it.
Awesome.
So we've always I was mentioning this to you, even record wise, and also rehearsal and playing live wise. It's as if I don't know, was this live or was I telling you this? I think we talked.
Yeah, right. No, I think we talked about this when you were here at my place. I think so. Yeah.
But we talked about it here as well, but I'm not sure if it was backstage or if it was a live thing. But
could be.
With Vic, it was even rehearsal wise and playing live wise, it was we've been playing for 20 years, And so it always felt very natural, our combination. Because even with Kevin Moore, it was when he sent us his parts for Derelict Minds, the solo, we're all kind of it's a cool solo, we like it, but it isn't something that really kind of captures our hearts. Everything that Vic does, be it solo, be it, solos, be it atmospheric stuff or whatever, special effects, textures, whatever, it always just falls in the right place. And it's where I imagine these things falling, or if I didn't imagine these things falling, he makes it work amazingly well. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I don't want it any other way. That's not like this. So I've always enjoyed giving his synths a lot of protagonism.
Right.
Which obviously in Skylighting, there's a lot of protagonism, but in this one, I really wanted to accentuate it. Like really put every time he's in there, it's like you hear the synths.
Honestly, I mean, at this point, I feel kind of sorry for Vic, because in Dutch we have a saying in which you get a feather put up your butt the moment someone gives you a positive compliment. Like you get a feather stuck up your butt, but at this point you've kind of just taken the whole chicken and shoved it up there. So in that regard, it's like, Vic,
what does that mean?
That it just means that you're impressed with someone and that you love what they did. Like putting feathers up someone's butt. It's like, I love this person and you should check out their work. That's what you just did. So Vic, if you're not able to sit properly for the rest of this week, I'm so very sorry. But at the same time, that's what you get for delivering awesome parts. There you go. One thing that's happening in the chat right now, and I do feel I want to put some emphasis on this, because we talked about guitars, we talked about Luigi and you, but there's two persons that I want to mention myself, so I'm taking the reins on this, and that is that this could not have been as amazing as it is now if it wasn't for Adrián banging the fuck out of those drums.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, José providing a bass, a bassist that is not just solid, that everyone can lean on, because I feel that these two are like, at this point I'm not even sure who is who anymore, because I feel like they're one mind now. If I hear that groove, it's like, you guys are a singularity at this point. It's almost crazy how tight that shit is.
Yeah, and their approach is very tight, because if you see them working together, it's more like Chami is very aware and Adrián is very aware of what each other are doing.
Right, yeah.
And which is something which I think also gives this album its unique feel, in the sense that before I would always write the bass, but I'm writing bass as a guitarist.
Right, and it's different. You're not writing as a bass player. It's different. Yeah.
And now Chami took the reins of the bass and writing the bass, and so now it's more like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go, hey, what are you doing? And let's like tie in each other up, and which is a great thing, But yeah, I mean, no. I mean, I don't really talk about our individual performances. I haven't talked about them, but I think that Luigi does his best work here. I mean, his solos are insane.
It's insanity.
Like that midsection of A Trace of Home is kind of like our Metropolis,
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like our Metropolis Part 1. Adrián does insane shit with the drums in this one. I mean, if you listen to Descender and you compare it with this one, which both albums have that kind of heavy element to it, but if you listen to them, Descender is much more simple. It's not simple, but compared to this one,
I would say with Descender, I feel that Adrián is really serving the songs and not really taking the space that he could have taken. I'm not saying he should have, but here he takes the space that he can take, and it's beautiful. It works. So that's what makes it awesome.
And again, I already mentioned Chami though, like his bass playing and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything about myself because who cares?
Well, then I'll say it. You've written amazing songs and you're playing an awesome guitar. And next step is gonna be. And next step, I want a 20-minute banjo solo. That's what it is. And I feel that the chat should be saying stuff about Chris in regards to his performance. But I feel that I speak on behalf of everyone that your vocals, you've grown. Like, shut up and take the compliment now. Don't debate it. You have grown as a singer, and I can hear that, because for those of you who've heard Descender, and obviously I've been involved with Skylighting, releasing it, so I have an intimate connection with Skylighting because I heard it so many times. But what I thought was really fun, and as a fellow singer, was that there's things happening on this record that you didn't do before. Not on Descender, not on Tymora, not on Skylighting, and you actually pushed yourself. And when I saw you guys live, not gonna lie, I know this is sounding like stupid chauvinism, once again shoving feathers up someone's butt. But in this case, when I saw you guys live and I was filming it, even with the subpar sound of a front row with a camera in my hands, I was like, yeah, you've been growing as a singer, and I really got to start doing more vocal exercises because fuck. And that's good. That's a good thing. So yeah,
I think also, and this is to talk about the Prog Power experience. I mean, Prog Power was just. I mean, it's how do I explain this? So even if say we played another festival that has 2,000 people or 3,000, 10,000 people, it's never going to be the same, because no other festival that I've ever been to, I haven't been to many, but I've heard testimony from a lot of other people saying like Prog Power is a completely different beast when it comes to the people that go there.
Yes,
even Matt Spall was telling me that he goes to like 1,000 festivals a year.
Yeah, Matt knows what he's talking about, but he is like a family member as well, and Man of Much Metal, of course. Shameless plug, Man of Much Metal, you should check it out. And sure. It's like Matt definitely knows what he's talking about, and he's been a part of that family as well. And
he's like, there's no other festival in the world like this one. This is the best festival in the world, and he says it like just as a matter of fact. Type thing. Like it's just the best festival.
And there's a reason why it's my regular holiday, and I book the rooms the moment they are available and buy the tickets the moment they are available. Mm-hmm. Same for me. It's like I need that yearly getaway. Easy as that.
Yeah, and I feel like up to a certain point, one of the things I really want this album to work out, and the rest are also, is because like I want to be able to. Well, I mean, I want to obviously move to Europe, but besides that, like move to Europe and just like really, I don't know how to explain it. It's a weird thing, like really impress over there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like really kind of like take the band to another level, but over there. Because I feel like that's where it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I agree, and I'm here for it, man. And there's many people here for it, but I got your back, and there's a lot of people who got your back. So that is definitely, the moment it happens, you'll have a warm place to head to. Also, just quickly checking the chat here, I see there's people talking about the assimilation thing I just said. Wow. Okay, Chemi and Adrian is Cherian. That's what Lizzie just said. Resistance is futile. Assimilation, we are hive mind. The Dutch are indeed pure filth. And Ron just gave the translation of feather up your butt, and that is indeed veer in je reet. So if you want to do the Dutch pronunciation, veer in je reet. Feather up your ass. There you go. And Adrian says it's been an honor to work with you guys. Vikram also says, got a run for the day, but great hangs. Bravo. Well, it was lovely having you here, Vic. It was lovely having each and every one of you here, because we're nearing the end of this stream right now. And what I just told Chris, can we finally get that Chinese ordered? I mean, I see you're busy ordering Chinese right now. Let's hope that works. While Chris is ordering Chinese, I'll wrap this up. It's just that that this stream, you saw it here now, it's not going to stay online tonight because it's going to go back online next week. So you were here now on the chat, and if you're watching this later, then I hope you enjoyed it, watching this on the Layered Reality YouTube page from Friday the 25th. Onwards, thank you all in the live chat for contributing to this lovely live show. And yes, Chris, thank you as well for your time. You can now go back to Mount Olympus to be a very buff guitar player indeed, and to not be a part of us mere mortals once again. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway. Lovely people, this was wonderful, thank you, because it was also a baptism of fire for Layered Reality to do this. We're probably going to do more listening parties like this, because this was a lot of fun. Chris,
you could do a few, man, of like the bands, like your albums. Yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to do I can't speak anymore. I would love to do one for Skylighting, just because I feel like maybe we could prepare one with Vikram and me.
Oh yeah, we definitely could. This is fun, and by now we get the setup, we got it going. So there's definitely something we can look into. I would definitely be up for that if any of you guys are up for that. Leave comments in the chat, and obviously the moment this goes out, share it around. And Chris, I want to give you the final word for this before we close this off. So is there anything you'd want to say to everyone who's watching right now and later on YouTube?
I would just like to say that the bird is the word.
The bird is the word. Come on, wakado, wakado.
Yeah, there you go. The bird is the word. There you go.
No, but
that's all I would like to say. But no. Seriously, thank you all. That whoever watches this in the future as well, loser, you weren't here. But
you missed out. Yeah,
you missed out. You're a loser. And just that,
Savage. We gotta stop with something positive, man. This is the law of TV.
Okay, all right, something positive. Thank you all who are in the chat. thank you all who buy the album as well. Like, I feel like that's a really cool thing. Nowadays, most people just stream Spotify shit, and it's like, you do realize artists get nothing, and that artist will die off if you just think of the, just streaming on Spotify type shit, you know? So, Spotify also donates a lot of money to the military-industrial complex, so there you go. And
that's an interesting little tidbit that is interesting with this album in the back of our minds. Yes, yes, it is.
But anyway, so yeah, just wanted to say that, you know, an artist has to survive somehow, I guess.
And it's thanks to you guys, each and everyone here, and everyone watching this in the future, and everyone who gets the album.
And thanks Tom for Layered Reality and for producing the album, like the you know, physical, all the stuff for the album. Tom was actually the one that did the CD cover. So anybody who gets the physical aspect CD gets the when you look at the CD cover, our artist was such an idiot that he didn't do that particular thing because he's not very bright. And
this is online
there
now.
You go. I don't care. He deserves it.
Fair. I mean, I'm happy to
hell that he put us through. So
I am happy to have been a part of it. Happy to help out as always, because that's what Layered Reality is all about. That's what making music is about. Music's about sharing and doing cool stuff together, and that's what this is all for. So yeah, there we go. Is this album a good Christmas present? I think that's a very good final question. Lizzie says, and I say it is the best Christmas present.
Of course.
If you want to have a successful Christmas, one that everyone will remember, which smells pretty and which is good for your chakras and your karma, then you buy this fucking record. All right? There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. It's a goodbye for me and Chris. See you soon. And
for sure.
Everyone stay healthy, stay happy, and see you all when the album hits tomorrow. Later, guys.